You're listening to the Highway of the Heart podcast, where we sit with Kim Hager, a seasoned worship leader, songwriter, teacher, and mentor. I'm your host, Jolie. Join us as we take a journey into a life of beholding, discovering the restoration of our truest worship and the unlocking of our creativity. Well, hello.
Here we are.
Hi, Kim.
Hi, we're doing this.
We're doing it. We've been talking about this for a while.
Quite a while.
And now we're doing our first podcast episode.
Oh, I'm stoked. It's going to be fun.
Yeah. How do you feel?
I feel reminded of the first time you and I had a fun conversation.
Wow, that was a long time ago for me.
It was a long time ago for me too. No, this is kind of inspiration for doing a podcast. Is you were a student and we were on outreach and we woke up in the morning and did a spontaneous little walk jog thing.
It was a run. Okay. It was a jog run.
I don't know if I run. It was
definitely a jog.
Yes. It was a jog. Our heart rate went up.
Yeah, for sure.
We won't say at what speed
the talking was hard moving. A little bit.
Yes, the talking was hard.
We were still talking, so.
Yeah, awesome. And that was just such a sweet time where there was all of this conversation that just came out of both of us surrounding the beauty of Jesus and worship and what it means to minister to the Lord. And I think that was one of the first points that I was like, you know what? I've been having these conversations with young adults for years and older adults and teenagers. And I'm teaching in the classroom these concepts and these ideas, and those same types of organic conversations are happening in the classroom. And I was like, you know what? Let's make this available. Let's actually make the conversations that I've been having with maybe 100 or more people over the years and make them available as a resource to others. So anyways, if it hadn't been for that jog that we did.
Well, I've enjoyed our conversations over the past 5 or 6 years. We've just often gotten coffee and then had just these great convos where you're kind of pouring into me. And from when I was a student, but then also when I joined staff at our organization and just through the changes of life, you've been a consistent voice there, and just such a great well of wisdom. And you don't really have to try. I mean, when I talk to you, it's just so natural. It's like wisdom and revelation are just kind of flowing. And so I'm excited about this podcast because I would love for lots of people my age. I'm Gen Z. I'm like right at the top of Gen Z. I would love for people my age to get to talk to someone the way that I've gotten to talk to you. And so maybe they don't have that resource, but they can now listen to this podcast and get some of that rev.
Yeah, praise God. Let's do it.
Yes.
Here we are.
So the name of the podcast, Highway of the Heart.
Psalm 84 is like one of my all-time favorite psalms. In fact, we've spent hours singing it in the prayer room. And I'm not going to go into a whole teaching on what Psalm 84 is, but it holds in this idea that we're all on a journey. We're all on a pilgrimage to what will be in eternity. And it says, in my heart is a highway to Zion. And I think, that's a literal Zion that we're living for. There's life is a highway, a journey to a very literal Zion where Jesus will rule and reign on the earth and we will be with him forever.
Right.
And I think it's also a spiritual, figurative journey where the highway that we're building, the life that we're building, is centric on the person of Jesus and the pursuit of who he is and who we are in him. And so it just was the best fitting name for the content that we're going to do.
Okay.
Is our hearts are this highway of worship, this highway of discovery, this journey of beholding and becoming.
Wow. Exciting. That means there's going to be some good content on this
I sure
podcast.
hope so.
Sounds like it from that. Well, okay, so you mentioned we've been singing Psalm 84 in the prayer room. Can you just tell me a little bit about your background? How long have you been in the prayer room or in ministry? Just tell me a little bit about your ministry experience.
Ministry experience. Okay, I feel like ministry is so early on in my life that I don't remember when I started. Uh, it was probably when I was in high school, and I'm in my mid 40s now. I don't care. I don't mind to say that. 40s are the best years of my life. So I was in high school leading campus groups and very involved in my local church. And so there's always really been some kind of ministry leadership. I would say it's been the last 20 years that I've been in church, local church, houses of prayer, international missions bases, on leadership teams, helping to develop leaders and also worship leading, teaching, mentoring. So that
Okay.
did that answer?
Yeah, yeah.
It's like the broad overview of.
So I mean, I know you, but you're a worship leader, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so
I've been doing that for like 20-ish years.
you have been traveling and not just traveling, but also rooted in communities,
Mhm.
teaching about worship, leading worship,
Yep.
ministering to the Lord. What's your favorite part about that?
I think my favorite part is when we lock in as a family, and that word has a lot of nuance to it.
Mhm.
But when we get that sense of a group of people who love Jesus together, and we find some kind of rhythm where we're doing that on a regular basis,
Mm.
what takes place in our own hearts, but also what takes place in the community that we're involved in, when that's a regular part of what we're doing.
Okay.
And that's what we do here. I'm not sure if we mentioned this yet, but we're at MAPS Global. I'm on our headquarters leadership team here, and my title's the Global Worship Advisor. It sounds really fancy.
Ooh.
It basically means I've got my eyes and my heart on the culture of worship that we're building, and I'm helping to steward that and helping it grow. So my favorite part of all of that, of teaching in the classroom, we have a school of prayer and worship. We have a frontier mission school. I do itinerant ministry at other organizations overseas and here in the States. My favorite part of all of that, and this is not trite, I'm not just giving you a like religious answer. My favorite part of all of that is when we find encounter with God together.
Yeah.
And when we're able to do that with a group of people who are saying we're family, and we're doing that on a regular and consistent basis, there's nothing on this earth like it.
Yeah. And I know that you've gone to our overseas bases
Mm-hmm.
multiple times, and in the Middle East and in Eurasia and in other. You just went to North Africa,
Right.
but
Yeah.
yeah, teaching and just like helping cultivate ministry to the Lord and
Right.
in families across the earth. It's so cool.
It's
I
so
love it.
beautiful. Like when you add in that piece of seeing the beauty of these little families of worshipers popping up all over the globe,
Hmm.
and you get to step in and watch that happen. It's like one of the most beautiful things on the face of the earth.
Well, I love getting to be part of it too.
Yes.
It's very fun. So, and I've had the privilege of being one who's learned how to worship lead under your watch. So,
Mm-hmm.
um it works.
Yeah, that
It works.
first jog that we had, you weren't sure if you would like, that was the moment you were like, I think I'm supposed to like do some worship leading.
Yeah, I mean, all I knew was how to play some chords on the keys back
And
then.
now
So.
you're leading teams in times of worship and going overseas and doing it for 50 hours. And
Well, yep. And enough
Well,
about me. Let's get back to
okay.
Kim. So I want to know I want to get to know Kim a little bit
Mhm.
more. So what are some things that you love to do? Like, how do you like to fill your time?
put me outside somewhere, outside in nature, on a river, on a trail, riding my bike, in a kayak, on a paddleboard,
Yes.
camping. Let me see nature and be in it,
Yep.
and recreation. That's like the biggest thing. And I have this cute little 3-year-old Aussie doodle named Brody. He's getting a shout out on the first
Brody.
podcast.
Of course he
It's
is.
my adventure buddy.
Okay. Cool. Outside, you're a plant.
I'm a plant.
You're a plant.
I'm a tree.
No, that's awesome. Do you have a favorite food?
Yes, food.
Oh, okay. What about like a favorite Mediterranean or
I'd say top 3 is Italian because I have Italian heritage. And these are not in order. So all 3 of them I like equally. Italian, Mediterranean, and Indian.
Interesting. And if you were forced to give an answer, which
Of
one
only
could
one.
Yes. Which one could you not live without?
Probably Italian because
It's in your
in my
blood.
DNA.
That's right. That's right. You gotta have those
Give
noodles.
me pasta and cheese. Yeah.
Can't live without the bread. Okay. How do you order your coffee?
I always have some kind of oat milk or almond milk in it. It's usually a latte.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you like the vanilla latte.
I do.
Yeah.
Vanilla or caramel.
Mm-hmm.
Caramel, however you say it.
Caramel. Okay, do you have like a favorite activity? You mentioned some kayaking.
This is like we're getting to know Kim podcast.
I just want the listeners to not just know you as a worship leader, but I want them to kind of get a picture of you. One last
like
question.
that. That's warm and inviting, hopefully.
Well, thank you. I hope that's why you asked me to host.
It is. You're a great host. What was the question again?
A favorite activity. You mentioned kayaking, hiking a little bit, like an exercise type thing.
I really do love to bike.
Biking. That's
I'm
right.
not a professional by any means, but I really love like long distance hybrid biking. I've done the Capitol Trail and I did a 61.
Ooh.
If you're listening and you're a bike rider, you're going to be like, 61 miles is nothing. Because it is nothing.
That's a lot to me. So
Exactly. It was a lot to me too. So I'd had a group of friends. We did this 61-mile ride on the I think it was Chesapeake, Ohio. And it was so beautiful. And we landed in Harpers Ferry, West Virginia. And this whole podcast could be about the outdoor activities if you,
so you
let
like
me
to
go
bike.
on.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, let's not turn into a biking podcast. Well, that's admirable. I can bike like a few miles.
Oh, and Acadia. I went to Acadia and did these carriage. See what I mean? You're going to have to interrupt me.
Oh gosh,
These carriage roads.
Okay, well, let's hop back to the topic for this first podcast that we're doing.
Bring it on.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask, you said you're in your mid-40s. You've been in ministry for a few decades now, just a few. And I'm wondering, as a 25-year-old, what's it going to take to be able to keep saying yes to the Lord over decades?
Wow, yeah.
So like what has sustained your yes? Not just to stay in ministry, but to keep your heart alive to God.
What a great question. And I like that you said not just to stay in ministry, but to keep your heart alive to God, because saying yes to Jesus doesn't necessarily mean you're in occupational or professional ministry.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I like that you asked that part. Wow. Well, there was a youth leader probably a decade ago that came to me and said, hey, will you come talk to our kids about this very same thing? And so up until that point, it was not something that I had formulated of like, oh, these are really the key things that have kept my heart alive. And this opportunity to actually share that with a group of young people was a good place for me to meditate on and consider what are some of those pillars that have kept my house intact. And the foundation, of course, being Jesus and who he is and our identity in him. So I actually have these, I think there's like 6 to 8 uh, maybe mantras or statements of truth or godly beliefs, maybe you could call them, that I have kept before me. And when people ask this question, these are the things I refer to, but they've also been things for me that are, I'm going to return to these. I'm going to look at these for myself when I'm not doing well and remind myself.
Yeah. Wow.
So you
So
want to hear what
that's
those
what
are?
that's what we're gonna walk through this
Yeah.
podcast.
So
I'm excited. Let's go.
I'll tell you what they are, and then we can have conversation around them. Maybe this, and if we don't get to all of them, we'll do it in the next episode.
Okay. Give me the list.
Here's the list. It's all grace and great mercy. I absolutely could not give Jesus my yes if his yes toward me was not stronger. And I have experiential revelation of times when my yes was not a yes to the Lord, where it was, I actually had a no in my heart.
Yep.
And he just wasn't content with that and jealously pursued my heart. And so one of the things that I keep before me then is that, and Job said this I recall to mind, therefore I have hope. His loving kindness is new every morning, and great is his faithfulness. So one of the things that I keep before me is the faithful commitment of God over my life, and that it's grace. It's grace. It's grace. And grace is not a permission to do whatever we want. Grace is the empowerment, the divine empowerment to do what we can't do and to be who he's created us to be. I remember this really elderly lady, and I don't even remember her name. I was visiting a friend in California, and she's like, I want you to come visit this woman because she's lived all her days before Jesus. And she's like almost 100 years old.
Oh my
and as a
gosh.
young person, that's impactful, you know. And I literally went into this little tea room with this, maybe she was an angel. I don't know. No, she was a real human and had lived all of her days before the Lord. And I walked into this little tea room, and you could just feel the presence of God. And I literally sat down at her feet and looked up at her and was waiting for whatever she had to say to me. And she said something to the effect of, Kim, when it's all been said and done, and people look at your life and they see anything good from it, anything of God from it, you're going to look up and you're going to say, it was all grace. It was all grace. It struck me to the core. And I was like, this lady has learned to lean in to him all the days of her life. I want to be like that when I'm 102.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So we have to, that's for me, a sustained yes to the Lord is also a sustained relinquishing of the pride that I can lead my own life. And when I get to those places where and I have many times, I have gotten to those places where I find I think I know better for what's for my life, or there's traces of rebellion in my heart or resistance to the Lord, or just immaturity. And when I find myself at those wrestles with God, then it's that relinquishing of, I'm going to lead my own life and shepherd my own life. And that's where I find the strength to keep saying yes.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, so it's all grace.
It's all grace. I'm going to say one more thing about that is it's not just leaning into the leadership of Jesus and saying, Jesus, you know better than me. I need your grace. I need your mercy. I've also deeply experienced a leadership lesson of submitting myself to others in leadership. And that can be an uncomfortable thing for people to hear in a day and age where leaders hurt us and they let us down and they're imperfect. But there is wisdom. It's in the Bible somewhere. I'm sorry, I don't have the reference in front of me where it says, submit yourselves to one another out of fear for the Lord.
Mm.
And I have had very real moments in my life where I was wrestling to either go the broad road of compromise or the narrow road of staying on that highway.
Mm-hmm.
And the saving grace of that was leaders around me who knew better for me than I did in that moment.
Mm.
And then the power of God's Spirit to help me put myself in submission to that and say, you know what? I need more than just my perspective here. I actually need your leadership in my life. I need your care for my life.
Mm.
Help me to know wisdom. Help me to know what God is doing. And so it's all grace in the sense of it's his empowerment and leaning into Jesus. But in leaning into Jesus, there's a leaning into the body as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Wow. Okay. Number 1. It's all grace.
It's all grace.
Okay.
And great mercy.
Yes.
Great mercy.
Great mercy. You wrote one of my favorite songs about mercy.
I did?
Yeah, I think it's everybody's favorite song. Are you kidding me?
It's extravagant mercy.
Yes, extravagant mercy.
It's extravagant.
You can find it on everywhere that there's music.
Yeah.
Anyway, love that song. Okay, so your second point is the worth of Jesus.
Yeah,
Tell me about that.
That's one of our main things here at MAPS Global too, is Jesus is worthy.
Mm-hmm.
And that is foundational. There's no one like him. And I have had these points along my life journey where, you know, big picture, you consider all the world religions and all the leadership of those religions and what that God looks like or what that priest or prophet looks like. And when it comes down to it, there is no other, this is a song lyric too, there's no other prophet, priest, or king who has ever paid the price for my transgression.
Mm-hmm.
And so there have been moments in my life where that fact alone anchors me that he's the only one worthy to have leadership over my heart and over my life and over the nations of the earth.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is the Sermon on the Mount, because when I think about the leadership of Jesus and I'm wrestling with my yes toward him, big yes or small yes, and I look at the leadership of Jesus as exemplified through his teaching on the Sermon on the Mount, I'm like, there is no other God.
Mm-hmm.
There is no other man. There is no other leader on the face of this earth who leads in that way. It's beautiful, and it's full of love and perfect wisdom. And so the worth, and there's so much. I mean, we could probably do a whole episode on why Jesus is worthy.
We could probably just do all the episodes.
We should
about
do
Jesus
all
as
episodes
worthy.
on the worth of Jesus. Yeah, there's no other name.
Yeah.
That I would want having authority over my life.
Mm-hmm.
He's trustworthy. He's beautiful. He's holy. There's a holy fear to be had there, but the worth of Jesus, time and time again, has put me at that place of repentance or that place of, I'll do anything for you. I think that's some of the wisdom of worship mixed with prayer. Instead of just getting in a room and trying to pray together, is that when we worship, we see who God is. Yeah. And it ignites our heart with, he's beautiful, he's worthy, he's powerful. Okay, what do you want to do, Lord? You know? So yeah, the worth of Jesus is one of those pillars. Yeah.
It's so helpful to keep you in line, to keep your heart in line. Just feel like it just realigns me every time.
Right.
Just
and
to
that's
see him.
That That, and I think that is the point of having these godly beliefs that we keep. Maybe yours don't look like my list, but they're related to it. But having some set of reminders that this is why I'm doing what I'm doing and who I'm doing it for.
Yeah. So your third point seems a little similar,
Yes.
or it piggybacks,
Yeah.
which is the wisdom of Jesus and the fear of the Lord.
Yeah, he's worth everything, but also I touched on that. It's like his wisdom and his love is absolute perfection.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a certain fear of the Lord, that a reverence that I want to keep on my life for that holiness and that wisdom and that leadership. And it's those places where by grace, by the Spirit, I've gotten on my knees and said, Lord, I have no good thing apart from you. You're a better, we've already said this, but you are a better Lord over my life than I am. And so just sustaining a healthy fear of God, not love has no fear of punishment in it. So when I say fear of God, I'm saying that trembling at his power and his goodness and his love and his wisdom as being something higher than me. Not like I'm afraid God is going to hurt me or I'm afraid God is going to punish me. That's a different type of fear. But
Yeah.
having that healthy fear of God is
The
good.
honor.
The honor, the reverence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm. Yeah, it can be so easy. I think this a main point in the how to keep your heart alive is that you get so disillusioned by
Mm-hmm.
people's failures and things that were going well now going poorly.
Right.
Life transitions, my goodness, like keeping your heart
Mm-hmm.
alive during transitions, and the concept that Jesus is a good leader is so anchoring in those moments.
It is. Is every human leader is going to disappoint you at some point. You're going to get hurt at some point, and your own leadership is going to hurt yourself whether
Yeah,
you
you're gonna
realize
fail.
it or not. And
Yeah.
let me say this for the record, I have failed more than once. And Jesus still loves me, and he's still taking those pieces and cleaning them up and putting them together and redeeming them in his faithfulness, because his love is perfect and his leadership is perfect.
Yeah. Well, we could sit there forever, but let's go on to number 4,
Okay.
the beauty of God and enjoyment of God. Like this one.
Yeah. So yeah, it's one thing to be like, I'm receiving grace here to do this, and Jesus is worthy, and I'm going to have the fear of the Lord and the wisdom of God at a central focus in my life. But to couple that with a God who is actually enjoyable and beautiful makes it enjoyable and beautiful.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a staple reality for my walk with the Lord, is keeping a fascinated gaze. And that's where we talk about a life of beholding. You'll hear that language a lot here, and I'm sure in other places, this idea of beholding who God is and how he is and becoming transformed into that. And one of the ways that we do that is we keep our gaze, our the eyes of our heart is what Ephesians calls it. That thing that we're focused on and intrigued by and that we're meditating on, that we're contemplating, we keep that fixed on him, and we're meant to be fascinated. We are meant, that's, talking about how much I love nature and being outdoors. When we see a shooting star or a rainbow or something in nature that's bigger and beyond us and that we could have never possibly dreamed up ourselves, fascination happens in the human heart.
Mm-hmm. Aw.
And that's the way he made us. He made us to be undone with something beyond us and something beautiful. And we can fill our lives with a lot of things. And I had, for myself and for those listening, if you're at a place where you're feeling dull or maybe boredom in your life with the Lord, or that there's just no capacity there, maybe it's because your time, your energy, your emotions are being saturated with a billion other things.
Yeah.
So that is the wisdom of keeping a beholding lifestyle. And we'll get it. I'm sure we're going to get into more on that in another
Yeah, I'm
podcast.
expecting a few episodes on
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, to get a bit more practical and
Yeah.
less visionary about that in another time.
Yeah, because I know you're not talking about just sitting in a prayer room every day for hours and hours.
No,
It's
he's the God of all of life.
all of life. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there is an aspect to sitting in a beautiful room where that's been set apart for encounter with God, and sitting
Sure.
in a chapel or a prayer room. That is one way to behold, but I'm talking about a lifestyle that's sensitive to God's presence and God's
Right.
voice, and developing that and cultivating that to where it's a part of everything that you do.
Yeah. It's so fulfilling in life to
Mm-hmm.
to to know that he's in every part of life.
Yeah,
It's
and
so good.
he really will fascinate your heart. He really will bring you to places where you're like, "Oh, I love you. You're amazing. You're beautiful, and you love me." And this is
Yeah. So good. Takes your eyes off of everything else going
yeah,
on. So
yeah.
good. So moving into number 7. Sorry, 5. uh,
That's fine.
uh,
Yeah.
moving into 5, which is kind of like a flip of the one we just talked about.
Right.
The delight of God over us. So
Yes.
that's been a marker for you.
So a huge marker. Again, you could have all of those things I've already shared. And if your viewpoint of God is that he doesn't like me and he doesn't want to be with me and I'm
Yeah.
in trouble, if that's your view of God, then that's not who he really is. And this truth that God is absolutely crazy about us, which blows my mind, and that his delight is for us, will set your heart free to fail.
Yes.
It will set your heart free to not be striving for his attention and affection, but confident that he's waiting for the moment that you wake up in the morning and take that first breath and say, "Good morning, God."
Mm, wow.
He absolutely adores. And we get so used to the passion narrative. Jesus died on the cross for us. He saved me from all my sins. Now I'm going to heaven. It's like that has become so in the Christian world. That has just become almost, I don't know the word for it, but it's this belief that we know and we say all the time, but
Common
it's common.
rhetoric. Yeah.
And pause and think about that. That's again another episode of the delight of God, that he would take on our flesh, know everything that it is to know, to be like us, to feel like us, to look like us, and do it because he wants to be with us in the deepest places, in the hardest, loneliest places. He wants to be with us. He wants to be with us on the mountaintops. I just, the times that have been my worst in life, that moment when I feel God's pleasure over my life keeps me going. And it's real. That's who he really is he's delighting over us and rejoicing over us, even in our weakest state.
That's encouraging. It's very encouraging, Kim. Anything else you want to say about that before
Well,
we move on?
that just leads into the next one, that not only does he delight over us, but he wants inclusivity.
Okay.
He's the God of all of the universe, and in a moment could, the hearts of kings of nations are in his hand. Like he could turn the heart of kings of nations, and he could in a moment end it all. He could, in a moment, execute justice in any way that he sees righteously. And he has humbled himself in his meekness to say, I actually want you to do it with me. I want partnership with you. I want you to pray and ask me for things, and then I will do them.
Yeah.
The humility of that, but it's the inclusivity, the relationship of that not only does he enjoy me and delight over me, but he actually wants to like link my arm, take hold of my hand and say, let's do this together. The way that he moves and acts in the earth, the way that he, even the harvest, the gospel going forth to all the nations is dependent upon people's yes to him and partnering with him. So he wants our partnership. He wants our prayer agreement. He wants to do it with us. Oh, yeah.
So much purpose in that.
So much. That is purpose. That is life's purpose.
Yeah.
Is to
Sounds like
behold,
another
enjoy God,
podcast.
and do it with, and do life with him.
So we just have a few more minutes. So give us your last point. The 7th is the hope for his return. Tell me about that.
This all would seem pretty meaningless if it was unto nothing, but it's unto something, which is the title of this podcast, The Highway of the Heart. Psalm 84 is we're going somewhere. Individually, we're on a journey, but this is all going to culminate in Jesus ruling and reigning on the earth. And that's a whole theological discussion, but that's kept my heart alive in that this life is not the be all end all of everything I'm living for. And that's super hopeful. This life has a lot of suffering and pain and sorrow. And that is part of being formed and fashioned in the image of God and having a God who meets us where we're at. But this life is not the end all be all of all our hopes and dreams. We don't have to try to cram everything we've ever wanted and desired to become or to have into this life, because our gaze, eternity, has actually been written on our hearts. The word says we've been like pre-programmed to live for an age and a place that's beyond the here and now.
Yeah.
And he's going to rule and reign, and every nation, tribe, and tongue is going to be together under the leadership of Jesus, and every sorrow and every tear will be wiped away, and we're all going to be worshiping and enjoying him forever. And so that's the whole point of life. And I have to keep that when I'm in the mundane of the moment and I'm like, oh, this is hard. Wait, this isn't the end of the story. My hope is set on his return and the age to come.
Wow.
We did it all. How many of those?
7 points.
7 points. All grace and mercy, the worth of Jesus, the wisdom of Jesus, the beauty of God and enjoying him, the delight of God over us, his desire for partnership, and the hope of his return. This is why I said yes in the first place.
That's the song that you wrote.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if it's going to be released at this moment when this podcast is out.
Eventually, it will be available.
It's a good song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's written out of Psalm 27. You said, come seek my face. I said, your face, O Lord, I'll seek. He's my yes. This is why I said yes.
It's a good song. It says, I love the verses. It says in, I don't know if you know, if you can say the words verbatim right now, but the second verse is my favorite. It's,
heartache and sickness and trial.
The journey is worth a while.
Every mile.
Every mile. Yeah. It's really just flowers fading away. And then it says through victory,
wealth, and through gain.
The journey's all the same.
It's the same journey.
Yep. It's
just flowers
that's
fading away.
That's where it says it's just flowers fading away.
Yeah.
So good. Yeah. Just such a good song about eternity And it's amazing to get to live life with you because I see these things in practice, and get to learn these things from you, not just in a teaching atmosphere, not just in a podcast, but I see it in your songwriting and in your worship leading and just the way that you live your life with people. It's very authentic. And so I'm excited to do more episodes of this podcast with you.
Yeah, let's take the journey. We're going to do it.
Yeah. There's so much on the journey of life that doesn't get talked about. And I feel like even this is not a podcast for women, but I do feel like it's rare to hear from a woman leader sometimes, who's really working through some of this stuff and has experience working through, enjoying God in all of life. And what does it look like for his perfect leadership in my life, even though, I'm single or I'm divorced or I've been through A, B, and C, And so I'm excited to hear you give some wisdom that I think people they want to hear, that they need to hear. Yeah.
Good. Well, if you're listening, my prayer for you today is that eternity really would be written on your heart, and that this episode today has provoked hunger and desire to go deeper in God. And I bless that in you. And I just pray that you would find his delight over your heart today.
Thank you so much for listening. Tune in to the next episode.
I'm so glad you could be with us today. If you enjoyed this podcast, you can find my blog, music, and more at kimhager.net.